I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. In this video, we'll look at how to pronounce initiative, creative, and native. So you notice that creative and native both have the ative ending, and that's probably the most typical for the ATVIE. But initiative doesn't follow that pattern. And so if you struggle with this word, it's probably because of that you may want to, you see that ative and you want to pronounce it that way. Also, the other error pattern that I often hear is that initiative has 4 syllables, but it kind of looks like initiative. And initiate has that E8 combination, but initiative does not. So that would be another good word to cover is initiate. We can talk about that briefly in this video as well. So initiative has second syllable stress. The TI says the SH sound. So the syllable that has the length that you want to focus on is the niche. If you start the word on that syllable, it can really help you with the rhythm and help you to correct issues that you may have with this pronunciation. Trying initiative would be my suggestion. Then you hear how this first I wrote it here as an It is an I sound like it, but it's a reduced vowel, short and unstressed. So I can say initiative or initiative, doesn't make much difference. You probably want to go with I, but sometimes I write this as a schwa or an sound because people will make too much length or too much stress on that first syllable. So you want it to be really short and reduced. Initiative. And then notice we have, because the TI makes the SH sound, it's not IA here like it is in initiate, but rather just initiative. So we just have the vowel schwa for the letter A there. And then you've probably been hearing me say div rather than tiv. American English, we use a flap for a T that is in the middle, not followed by a stress syllable. So I rewrote it here as a letter D because we do the same thing, using a flap for D in the middle of words. Break it down, go slowly 1 syllable at a time, and then speed back up is another strategy. Sounds like initiative, initiative, initiative. When you can say initiative by itself, do try practicing it in some short phrases. She took the initiative. She shows a lot of initiative. We need a new initiative for this project. Then creative and native, I just want to talk about briefly so that they can contrast with initiative. Creative and native both have the stress on the A and they have the diphthong A, so it's a long vowel there. They also both have that flap, so they have the same ending as initiative. The div is short and unstressed. For creative, the letter E does say the tense E sound here. Create, creative. And then native, fairly straightforward, just our nay plus the div. Practicing the length there on the A syllables. You can also try those in some phrases. It's very creative. She's a native speaker. And then finally, let's just look at initiate because that, I think, pairs well with initiative as well, where we have the same I sound, then we have our niche, and then we have an E8. So in initiate, this T is an SH sound. We have a true T here at the end or a stop T, initiate. Depending on the context, you'll do a different T for the end of words. For the ends of words, you can see more about how T is pronounced in different word positions, stopped, flapped, or true T in our Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com and in our videos about the T sound. And then we do have the EA here rather than the should've, so initiate. So she will initiate the sequence. I will initiate a new series soon, etc. Okay, thank you for this request. If you have a word you'd like to see covered in this series, do feel free to leave that in the comments. I'll add it to the list to cover in a future class. Thanks so much for subscribing. I really appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you in our next Word of the Day class. We'll also have our live question and answer class Those have been changed to Saturdays, so I hope to see you there as well. Check out our playlists for Sounds of English, as well as our online courses on speechmodification.com. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.